Office. Joining me now is Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger. He is an Air Force veteran who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and also, of course, now serves on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm glad to be here in the
it's good to be here.
Person, in the flesh with you. So you have said, and I quote, "I implore the president to reconsider withdrawing from Syria." When you heard that last night, what was your reaction?
Well, I wasn't shocked because I knew it was coming. I thought generally it was a really good speech. This is the part that really was disappointing, you know, at a point when you're talking about American greatness, rebuilding the military, to then put out there and say, we're getting out of Syria because it's time to give people a warm welcome home. This is a point that I think is missed by a lot of people that have never served in the military. Yes, we all want to be home for Christmas. We all want to be home with our family. But we sign up for a job to destroy America's enemies. It may not be pretty to say, but that's why we do it, and we want to do that.
It's notable that he did not repeat his false statement that he made before in December on Twitter and subsequently that ISIS has been defeated in Syria. He didn't do that.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious after the terrorist attack against our troops that ISIS isn't gone. They are on their heels.
Right.
But to make the mistake of, frankly, what President Obama did, where he goes, you know, it's the JV team, we've got everybody on the ropes. Look, you may have an organization like ISIS on the ropes, but it doesn't take much for a terrorist organization to reform.
But, you know, you wonder then, is he reconsidering? Is he believing his generals in the intel community more now than he did after that testimony in front of the Senate Intel Committee on Afghanistan? He said that he's hoping that an agreement can be reached. Let's play a little bit more of what the president said as it pertains to negotiations with the Taliban in Afghanistan, of course, where you served.
In Afghanistan, my administration is holding constructive talks with a number of Afghan groups, including the Taliban. After 2 decades of war, the hour has come to at least try for peace, and the other side would like to do the same thing.
Notable to see him supportive of these talks and hopeful of these talks with the Taliban. Can the Taliban be trusted? And what did you think when you heard that?
Well, I thought his point about the other side wants this too is exactly probably why we shouldn't be doing it, because the other side's pretty evil in their intentions. That in Syria were kind of the two things where I felt like went over with a thud in the chamber. Again, I thought it was a great speech overall, but I sensed on our side and on the Democratic side some hesitation. Look, there's going to have to be a negotiated end to Afghanistan. We all know that every war ends in a negotiation, but it has to be from a position of strength. And when you show an enemy that you want to leave,
we're out of here.
And by the way, let's negotiate. It's reminiscent of the Paris talks in Vietnam, where you get a real bad deal.
There was this stunning moment, not in the State of the Union last night, but it was an exchange between Senator Angus King, who joins us a little later on the show, and the commander of CENTCOM, General Joseph Votel. Listen to this.
I was not aware of the specific announcement. Certainly, we are aware that he had expressed a desire and intent in the past to depart Iraq.
So you weren't consulted before that was announced.
We were not. I was not consulted.
That he was not consulted before the Syria withdrawal was announced. It is stunning. Republican congressman who has served, does it concern you?
Yeah, it's concerning. I mean, and you saw that with all of his advisors. Everybody was surprised. Literally, his advisors were out 3 days prior saying, we're not leaving Syria. And then he comes out and says, we're leaving Syria.
I guess beyond surprised, hearing that from him yesterday, does it concern you in terms of the danger it presents?
Yeah, I mean, of course it does. I think leaving Syria, it's the president's right to do it. He's the commander-in-chief. But without consulting is very concerning. But I will say this, too. There's a lot of areas where there have been strength. Venezuela. I watched half of the Democratic Party sit on their hands yesterday when people were talking about ousting Maduro. That blew me away, I think, more than probably anything.
The White House has not taken military intervention in Venezuela off the table. Would you be supportive of that?
I wouldn't be supportive of using it now, but you can't take it off the table, because if there's a threat of military intervention that's real, that's how the military turns in Venezuela.
On North Korea, we learned from the president last night that he will have a second summit with Kim Jong-un at the end of the month in Vietnam. He also said, if I had not been elected president, we would, in my opinion, be in a major war with North Korea. There's also no fact to substantiate that argument. You've said, and I quote, I'm uncomfortable with the president tweeting praises of Chairman Kim. Yeah. Are you comfortable with him walking into a second meeting? All of the cameras will be there. We saw the optics last time with literally no progress other than perhaps rhetoric. on the denuclearization front?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it right now because I think we have to see this whole process through because the alternative is really bad. But I think after this second summit, if there's no progress, I think that's the point we have to understand. There may just not be progress.
So if something doesn't change after summit 2, you would not want to hear the president say again, I fell in love, or we fell in love.
Yeah, please, we can quit complimenting Kim Jong-un. Let's understand that when we have our military exercises going and we have a presence in South Korea, that's how you force enemies to negotiate to the table. You force them to the table by having a stick option out there, and that's what we need.
2020.
Yeah.
So it's already a crowded field for Democrats. Some announcement coming from Senator Amy Klobuchar this Sunday. Of the field right now, and those seriously considering a run, who do you think presents the greatest threat to President Trump?
You know, look, I've said I think Joe Biden can be tough because he can pull a lot of the kind of blue collar, folks that support President Trump. He's always like, let's all get along. He's kind of a get along guy. All the other Democrats I'm seeing so far, to be quite honest with you, are pretty far left. And I think if they think this country is as far left as supporting them sitting on their hands when we talk about ousting Maduro or this country won't be socialist, I think they're missing the temperature of the American people. So, there'll always be a concern in 2020, but I think, one of these candidates met with Bashar al-Assad. If this is where people think the future of this country is, I think they're going to be mistaken.
Tulsi Gabbard, you're referring to. We appreciate your time, Congressman. Thank you
for
being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.